So we are here to make our final regular season predictions for the 2021-2022 regular season. It is week 18. That's really weird to say, not going to lie. And it is the last week of the regular season, and last week I went 11-5 in my predictions. Pretty good, so let's just get right into the predictions. The first game of the week we have is the Chiefs and the Broncos. Just as a quick side note for this game, I'm still upset that they moved this game to Saturday because it makes absolutely no sense to me. But hey, it is what it is. But the Chiefs last week, they lost to the Bengals. They allowed Jamar Chase to just absolutely kill their defense. 266 yards and 3 touchdowns they gave up to him. Absolutely destroyed the defense, Jamar Chase did. Their offense went cold in the second half. Very good first half. Only 3 points in the second half. The Broncos, they lost to the Chargers. I mean, they're playing Drew Lock at this point. Teddy Bridgewater's out for the season. They have an elite level defense and they have no offense to speak of it. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. They're going to want to bring their A game heading into the playoffs, and the Chiefs are still fighting for the #1 seed in the AFC, and I think they want that really, really bad, and I think the Chiefs beat the Broncos. Next game we have is the Cowboys and the Eagles. Now, the Cowboys last week lost to the Cardinals. Their offense was really bad for 3 quarters. They scored 15 points in the fourth quarter, tried to make it interesting, but they literally had no run game whatsoever in that game against the Cardinals. Michael Gallup out for the season on that touchdown pass where he tore his ACL. The Eagles, they beat Washington. Jalen Hurts has been playing some very good football right now, and the Eagles, they're really great at running the football. All in all, this game is kind of meaningless for both of these teams. Both of these teams already clinched the playoffs, but I think ESPN just kind of wanted a marquee game on Saturday, or the NFL wanted a marquee game on Saturday. This game, again, kind of a pointless game to be on Saturday, in my opinion, but I think the Cowboys are going to win this game because they need a confidence booster going into the playoffs. Next, we have the Washington Giants. This game absolutely means nothing. Washington lost to the Eagles. They stink, and their stadium almost killed people last week. The Giants, they got demolished by the Bears. They had negative yards passing on the game, and Joe Judge says people still want to play in New York, which absolutely makes no sense to me. We're going with Washington. I think they just have a better head coach and a better team. Next, we have the Bengals and the Browns. Now, as we mentioned earlier on, the Bengals absolutely torched the Chiefs secondary. Jamar Chase, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. Joe Burrow, 446 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like, the Chiefs defense made Joe Burrow look absolutely elite last week. Massive game against the Chiefs for the Bengals, but Joe Burrow's not playing in the game. The Bengals are basically just settling with their record and their seeding for the playoffs. They want to get all their guys healthy. In my opinion, I don't think it's a good move. They are a team full of a lot of they're great talent, but they're all young. So I think they should get as many reps as they possibly can. However, they're playing the Browns, who looked absolutely garbage against the Steelers. Baker was completely terrible. Their play calling sucked. But Baker's not playing in this game because he's finally getting shoulder surgery, which he should have done a long time ago. Case Keenum is playing, but with the Bengals resting their starters, it doesn't really matter. The Browns are eliminated from the playoffs, so just give me the Bengals to beat the Browns. Next, we have the Steelers and Ravens. Technically, both of these teams' playoff hopes are still alive, even though I don't believe either one of these teams are going to make the playoffs. Steelers, they won ugly against the Browns. They won Big Ben's final home game. The Ravens, they lost in the final seconds to the Rams. Their season has been absolutely decimated by injuries. Like, injuries is not usually an excuse people love to hear, and even me when it comes to certain things. But this is one time where the Ravens' entire season, their entire team is decimated with injuries this season. But like I said, I don't think neither team makes the playoffs, and I think Big Ben goes off on a high note and defeats the Ravens. Next, we have the Packers and the Lions. The Packers absolutely destroyed the Vikings last week. Aaron Rodgers just wanted to make an MVP case. Rodgers will win MVP no matter how stupid a Chicago writer decides to be. Let's be clear, that guy is an absolute bum. The Lions, they had 51 hung on them. The Packers said they're playing their starters, and for that reason alone, I think Aaron Rodgers, he has one more week to play pissed off, and I think he's going to go out there and just kill the Lions, and the Packers will beat them. Next, we have the Colts and the Jaguars. Now, the Colts, they lost to the Raiders. Carson Wentz was not good. He only had 148 yards passing, but they did have Jonathan Taylor still dominating the run game, another game over 100 yards rushing, a guy who got a lot of respect earlier this season. Still don't think he gets enough respect for how great of a running back that he is. But the Colts, they haven't won in Jacksonville in years, but you have Jacksonville who got absolutely killed by the Patriots. I think the Colts win and they clinch the playoffs, but I really want Jacksonville to win this game just for the crazy possibility of what could happen on Sunday Night Football, where if the Jaguars beat the Colts, the possibility of the Chargers and Raiders possibly tying on purpose would be the greatest watch in NFL history. Just watching them have a kneel off would be amazing. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Colts defeat the Jaguars. Next, we have the Bears and the Vikings. This is just basically a battle of who has more pride leaving their team. Both of these head coaches are going to get fired. After this game, the Bears, they destroyed the Giants. The Vikings, they got demolished by the Packers. But Vikings, they get Kirk Cousins back. These guys, I mean, it may be the end of the season. These guys may not be fighting for a playoff spot, but a lot of these guys are wanting to prove that they're worth, and they want a huge contract still, especially guys like Kirk Cousins. So, I mean, I think the Vikings, with them getting Kirk Cousins back, will beat the Bears. Next, we have the Titans and the Texans. Now, the Titans ran all over the Dolphins. Didn't matter if they have Derrick Henry or not. The Dolphins literally could not stop their running game. It was kind of cool to watch. Not really. That game was really boring. But the Titans, they were able to hold the Dolphins to 3 points. They will get Derrick Henry back for the playoffs, so that's going to be a huge boost to that offense, who I think Ryan Tannehill, if he has to throw the football, I don't think Ryan Tannehill alone can win the Titans a playoff game. The Texans, they played tough for a little bit against the 49ers, ended up losing that football game. Now, the Texans did beat the Titans earlier this season. I really want the Texans to win to help the Chiefs get the #1 seed. I will be rooting for the Texans, but my pride of wanting to get every single pick right in Week 18 is not going to allow me to pick the Texans. I'll be rooting for them, but I think the Titans will win. Next, we have the Saints and the Falcons. Now, the Saints beat the Panthers. Their offense absolutely stinks. They need a quarterback really, really bad. The Falcons, they picked off Josh Allen 3 times, and they still couldn't beat them. And the best thing that happened to them, or worst thing, however you want to look at it, is Matt Ryan taunted the Bills on what he thought was a touchdown, but wasn't. But anyways, I think the Saints, just for the fact that they're technically still alive in the playoffs, they need the 49ers to lose. We'll get to that game here in a minute. I think the Saints win, keep their playoff hopes alive just for a little bit, and the Saints defeat the Falcons. Next, we have the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Now, the Seahawks, they hung 51 on the Lions. Russ had 4 touchdown passes in that game, but this is probably the last game of the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson era. Not gonna lie, it's gonna be a little bit sad because I still vividly remember watching that Super Bowl where they absolutely killed the Broncos. That game was fun. So knowing that we had that will always live in my mind. That Super Bowl was great for all the wrong reasons. I think it ended like 43-8. Anyways, we look at the Cardinals. Their offense looking pretty good against the Cowboys. I mean, they almost gave the game away in the fourth quarter, but their defense came up with a timely fumble, and they were able to hold on to the football for the rest of the game. I think the Cardinals win, and I think they win their division. And I think the Cardinals win their division because of this next game. You have the 49ers and Rams. The 49ers, they beat the Texans with Trey Lance. They ran the ball down the Rams' throat the last time they played. The Rams, they've struggled the last few weeks. Matthew Stafford, 6 turnovers the last 2 games. They struggled against the Ravens, were able to win on a walk-off touchdown. OBJ, though, got to give it to him. He's been a huge addition for the Rams. However, I think the 49ers win, eliminate the Saints, and this moves the Rams down to the 5 seed and giving the Cardinals the division title. The NFC West has a whole bunch of talent, let's just be honest. But I think that's what's going to happen. I think the Cardinals beat the Seahawks, 49ers beat the Rams, the Cardinals win the division, 49ers make the playoffs, Rams move down to the number 5 seed. Next, we have the Jets and the Bills. Now, the Jets, they played the Buccaneers very competitively. They lost the game on a last-second touchdown from Tom Brady. And I mean, they made AB quit. Now, that situation's a bit murky at this moment, but they made AB quit, so they have that going for them this season. The Bills, Josh Allen was absolutely terrible against the Falcons. 3 touchdowns, or 3 interceptions, not 3 touchdowns. Gosh, that would be a great performance. But Devin Singletary was able to run the ball very well, and that Falcons defense. But I think the Bills handle business, beat the Jets, and they win the AFC East. Next, we have the Panthers and the Buccaneers. The Panthers, they have no quarterback, and their offense absolutely sucks. The Buccaneers won on a last-second touchdown, as we mentioned, against the Jets. They struggled most of that game, but they had AB quit and were throwing no-name receivers. I think the Buccaneers win this game, and I think they need to win this game, even though it's Week 18 and they've already clinched their division, everything else, because I think Tom Brady needs to see what he has in the other guys on his team going into the playoffs if they want a chance to make a deep playoff run. So I think the Buccaneers defeat the Panthers. Next, we had the Patriots and the Dolphins. The Patriots killed the Jags, hung 50 on them. The Dolphins, they've lost 7 in a row, and then they won 7 in a row. They were terrible against the Titans. I still believe in Tua. Don't hate on me. I still believe in Tua. But the Patriots, they lost to the Dolphins Week 1. I don't think that's going to happen this time, even though it seems like every year the Dolphins do something to ruin the Patriots season. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Patriots defeat the Dolphins. And what turns out to be game of the week, we have the Chargers and the Raiders. Yes, this is the game of the week because this game is the one that has the most writing on it. So you look at the Chargers, they dominated the Broncos, Herbert 2 TD game. The Raiders, they beat the Colts on a last-second field goal. Their kicker, Carlson, is probably their most valuable player. He's won them like 4 games this season. This is the biggest game of the weekend by far. It's a win and get in. Like I mentioned, if the Jags beat the Colts, they have that crazy scenario where these two teams could just kneel it. And if they don't do that, if the Jags win, I'm going to be sorely disappointed because I really want to see that on primetime on Sunday Night Football. We're not going to get that, but that would be amazing. I really want to see that. But both of these two teams have been very hard to judge the entire season. The Chargers, I think they have an electric offense. Their defense absolutely stinks most of the time. The Raiders, they have a middle-of-the-pack defense, in my opinion, but their offense, Derek Carr, has been highly inconsistent for most of the season. However, the fact that the Raiders are even in this spot is a huge credit to everything that coaching staff has done. I don't want to give Mark Davis any credit. I think he's an idiot. I think he's a terrible owner. So, I mean, you got to give the Raiders a little bit of credit for even being in this spot where Week 18 is a playoff game for them. They win and they get in. Chargers, same thing, except I expected a little bit more from them. They kind of down the stretch started losing some games that really didn't help them out at all. I think the Chargers do defeat the Raiders in Week 18 on Sunday Night Football. The Chargers, they're a team that has too much young talent to miss out on the playoffs, if you ask me. I think it'll be a wasted season for the Chargers more than it would be for the Raiders because early on this season, everything that the Raiders had to deal with, I think just the fact they're here is a win, in my opinion, for the Raiders. But the Chargers, they expect more. They're going to have to definitely tighten up that run defense coming up in next offseason. But I think the Chargers are going to play a little bit more hungry than the Raiders and defeat the Raiders on Sunday Night Football. Those are my Week 18 predictions. It's kind of sad to see that this is the final week of the regular season, but there's still a lot of football left. We have the playoffs and the College Football National Championship, which is going to be a lot of fun. Give me your predictions down below, and I will see you in the next one.